From Finnabair to Conaille. It is said in one version of the tale that the armies divided at Finnabair in Coolnia and laid waste to the country with fire. They rounded up all the women and boys and girls and cattle in Coolnia and brought them to Finnabair. "You haven't done well enough yet," Maeve said. "I don't see the bull with you." "There is no trace of him anywhere in the province," they said. One of Maeve's herdsmen, Lochar, was summoned. "Where do you think the bull might be?" she said. "I tremble to tell you," the herdsman said, "but on the same night that the men of Ulster were laid low by their pangs, he left, with all his 60 heifers. He is now in Devhoyer, the Black Cauldron, in Glen Gat of the Osiers." "Make yourselves ready," Maeve said. "Take a shackle of osiers between each pair of you and catch him." They did as she said, and hence the name of this place is Glen Gat, the Valley of Osiers. They encircled the bull there and drove him toward Finnabair, and there he saw the cowherd Lochar and attacked him in a fury, taking out his entrails on the horns. He attacked the camp with his 60 heifers, and 50 heroes perished in his path. Then the bull vanished out of camp, and to their shame, no one could say where he had gone. Maeve asked the herdsman where the bull might be. "He is back in the fastness of Sliabh Cualann." They headed for that place, ravaging Coolnia as they went, but they couldn't find the bull there. It is further said in this version that the river Cron rose up against them to the height of the treetops, and they had to pass the night by the edge of the water. In the morning, Maeve ordered some of her followers across it. The famous warrior Ualu tried it. To cross the river, he shouldered a big flagstone so that the water wouldn't force him backward, but the river overwhelmed him, stone and all, and he drowned. His grave, with his stone, is on the roadway by the river. Lia Uallon is its name, Ualu's flagstone. It is there that Cuchulainn killed Cron and Camvail in heroic fury, and a further 100 warriors died as they struggled, together with Rowan and Roe, the 2 chroniclers of the Táin. Some say that this is the reason the tale of the Táin was lost, and had to be found again long afterward. 124 kings died by his hand at the same river. So they went upward, along the river Cron, until they reached its source. They were crossing between the spring and the mountain summit when Maeve called them back. She chose to cross the summit itself and mark their track forever as a mark of dishonor to Ulster. It took them 3 days and 3 nights, tearing up the earth before them, to form the gap, Burness Bolculnia. Then they went over Burness Bolculnia with all their cattle and belongings, and they passed the night in Glen Dalevna in Coolnia, at the place now called Bocha, after the huts they made there. Next day they traveled to the river Colpha. Recklessly they tried crossing, but it too rose against them, and bore off 100 of their charioteers toward the sea. Cluin Carpat, the chariot meadow, is the name of that place where they drowned. They had to move along the river Colpha up to its source. Then to Belait Elun. They passed the night between Coolnia and Conaille at Liasa Liach, so named because the armies built stone shelters for their calves there. After this they went across Gen Gatleg, but the river Gatleg rose up against them also. Previously it was called Sacher, but it is known as the river Gatleg since that time, after the osiers they carried their calves in. They spent the night in Druam Fene in Conaille. Such, then, according to one version, were the travels from Coolnia to Conaille Plain. However, other writers of this tale, and other books, treat events differently, from the dividing up of the armies at Finnabair to the arrival in Conaille. Thus, when all had brought their spoils back with them to Finnabair and Coolnia, Maeve said, "Divide up the armies. Our forces can't all advance on the one road. Ailill can take half of them by the Midluacher road. We'll go with Fergus by way of Burness Bouled." "That leaves us the difficult half of the army," Fergus said. "We'll have to cut a gap to get the cattle over this mountain." That is what they did, and such is the origin, says this author, of the name Burness Bouled. It is at this time that Ailill took his charioteer, Quilius, aside. "Watch Maeve and Fergus today for me. I don't know why they are so intimate, and I want you to find me some sign." Then Quilius found the couple together, at Cluchri, where they had lingered behind as the army moved on. Quilius moved closer. They didn't hear him spying on them. It happened that Fergus's sword was laid down close by him. Quilius drew it out of its sheath, leaving the sheath empty. Then he went back to Aelil. "Well?" Aelil said. "Well indeed," Quilius said. "Here is your sign. I discovered them sleeping together, as you thought." "Fair enough," Aelil said, and they grinned at each other. "It's all right," Aelil said. "She's justified. She does it to keep his help on the Táin. Now, keep the sword in good order. Put it under your chariot seat with a piece of linen around it." Meanwhile, Fergus was looking about for his sword. "This is terrible," he said. "What's wrong?" Maeve said. "The wrong I have done Aelil," Fergus said. "Wait here, I must go into the wood. Don't be surprised if I am gone a while." Maeve didn't understand that his sword had vanished. He left her, taking his charioteer's sword with him, and cut a wooden sword from a tree. This is how Fiv Morthroyle, the wood of the great scabbard in Ulster, got its name. "Let us get back to our companions," Fergus said. All the armies met up in the plain and made camp. Aelil sent for Fergus to play fifth-hell with him. When Fergus entered the tent, Aelil started laughing at him. Fergus said, "Better be laughed at, mad after the act, my sword top maddened. Macha's curse, quick doom, Gallian swords outcry, women unvanquished, dark driven to meet them. Spear flock, sword flock, among leaders of armies, on Ness's boys' hill, armies struggle in fury, men's severed necks." Aelil said, "Why so wild? Without your weapon, on heights of a certain royal belly, in a certain ford was your will worked, or your heroism, an empty shout. To Maeve's oaths, tribes of men can bear witness, sucked dry in the struggle with giddy women, crawling, entering battle with great murky deeds, under cover, everywhere. Now sit down," Aelil said, "and we will play fifth-hell. You're very welcome. You play fifth-hell and Buonbach, with a king and queen ruling the game, their eager armies in iron companies. All around them, not even if you win, can you take my place. I know all about queens and women. I lay first fault straight at women's own sweet swellings and loving lust, valorous Fergus, coming and going with cattle bellowings, and huge forces all over Finnabair's rich places, in kingly form with fire of dragon, hiss of snake, blow of lion. Thrusting out in front, Roich's son Fergus, grandson of Russ, the king of kings. They began their game, advancing the gold and silver men over the bronze board. Aelil said, "It isn't right that death should take the sweet, slight king on the coppery point, the handsomer on this mad board. Mighty Maeve the less secure, these wise men. I move against Fergus. Let right be done, as our game does." Maeve said, "Hold a while your clownish words. Don't forget what still remains with the gentle boy troop. All might change. A wise judge bears no grudge. Have no more to do with those who keep their cattle with a vengeance, men's eyes downcast, and Fergus cleared." Fergus said, "A pity, friend. We hack each other with sharp words in the public gaze. Right speech offends, right ways run wrong. Javelins wiped, kings killing kings at a great man's word." They stayed there that night. The next morning, Aelil spoke. "One warrior out before huge armies, by Ness's crawn water his deeds loosed at the men of Connacht. Men's blood floods from hacked necks, great men's deaths, dark driven to meet, waves mounting up where the beardless hero comes from Ulster." Maeve said, "Don't call down violence, mighty Macmata. Chariot onslaughts from rocky heights, men massing, women carried off, cattle before them, and the heads of armies. Swords smashed on either side. Men's deeds of battle wrought in the murk. Oxen driven, women stolen, great armies turning from the battle plain of Conaille. Now the army sleeps." Fergus said, "Huge head stuck on chariot prow, and a gibbet face. Great-hearted heroes will swear by their people, squabble over queens, forge at the foe." Maeve said, "As you have said, so let it be. Let it be so. He bends to your yoke. Hordes are marching. Aelil's power put in your hands, to what effect?" They moved onward as far as the Cron River. Manya, one of Aelil's sons, spoke to them. Send me out swiftly, mother, father, fair deeds done, for the horned herds stand fast till I get in chariot reach, away from the herds, and the battlefield in mighty axe is swept clean. Fergus said, Mighty son, don't venture out. It is only asking to have your head knocked from your neck by the boy with no beard, who comes from the heights, howls on the plains, summons up rivers, shakes the woods, wrenches into mighty shapes, mighty acts, men in great numbers drowned in the waters. Aelil hurt and Maeve mocked, faces cast down in the bristling battle. Let me travel ahead with the exiles, Fergus said, to make sure there is no foul play against the boy. Send the cattle in front, and the armies after us, and the women in the rear. Then Maeve said, On your soul and oath, Fergus, listen, guard these cattle with your good armies. In conquering rage, halt the men of Ulster, or a roar will rise on the plain of Eye. Rise, overcome, and we'll meet again on the army's track. Fergus said, Spare us, Maeve, your shameless talk and harassment in the public gaze. No limp, soft son was ever mine at the struggle in the vein. I'll strike my people no more blows. Let me out from under your weight. No man come breathing down my neck to do your work on another outing. At the ford on the Cron River, Cuchulainn came to meet them. Loig, my friend, he said to his charioteer, the army is upon us. The charioteer said, I swear to the gods I'll do great deeds before these warriors, driving to triumph at full force on slender steeds with yokes of silver and golden wheels to crush kings' heads. My driven steeds will take us leaping to victory. Cuchulainn said, Now, friend Loig, set our course headlong into the crush. For Macha's great triumph, let them stray like women on the plain in terror. The team's head set against Aelil and Maeve. Through two armies like placid herds, grinding among them our vengeful path. I summon the waters to help me, Cuchulainn said. I summon air and earth, but I summon now, above all, the Cron River. Let Cron itself fall too in the fight, to save Merthevni from the enemy until the warrior's work is done on the mountain top of Oichani. And the waters reared up to the treetops. Then Manya, son of Aelil and Maeve, went out before all. Cuchulainn slew him in the ford, and 30 horsemen of his company were overwhelmed with him. Later, Cuchulainn slew another 32 warriors in the water. They pitched their tents at this ford. Luggeth MacNoise went out with 30 horsemen to talk with Cuchulainn. Luggeth, I bid you welcome, Cuchulainn said. If a flock of wild birds were grazing on Merthevni plain now, I'd give you one and share another. If the salmon were swimming the weirs or the river mouth now, I'd give you one and share another, with 3 proper herbs, cress of the stream, marshwort, and sea herb. And I would stand for you in the ford of battle. I believe you, beloved son, Luggeth said. I wish you a wealth of followers. You have a fine army, Cuchulainn said. You could hold them single-handed, Luggeth said. If it was one by one the army came against me, your Ulster enemy wouldn't disgrace you, Luggeth, Cuchulainn said. I have right and might to sustain me. Friend Luggeth, he said, do the hosts fear me? I swear by the gods, Luggeth said, they daren't make water in 1s or 2s outside the camp, but have to go in 20s and 30s. I have something new for them, Cuchulainn said. I am taking up sling throwing. Tell me now, Luggeth, what you want. That you will spare my own men, Luggeth said. You have my promise, provided you point them out to me by a sign, and tell my friend Fergus to show a sign among his men too, and tell the healers to show themselves by a sign. But they must swear to watch over my life and send me food every night. Luggeth returned. He found Fergus in Aelil's tent, and he called him out and told him the news. Then they heard Aelil. What are you whispering? This is no sport field for our great army. He chooses among us for the sake of Roich's son, who plays king in our place, as we hear tell. That we get great help through Maeve's sweet needs. Let us take our few men to the favored tents, and all be safe from flying flagstones and hurling sods. By these secret meetings, I know he is near. I swear by the gods, I can't promise that without asking the boy again, Luggeth said. Luggeth, Fergus said, will you do this for me? Go and ask him to let me take Ailill and his troop of 3,000 men among my own. Bring an ox, a salt pig, and a barrel of wine with you." Luggith went and asked him. "It's all the same to me where he goes," Cuchulainn said. So the two troops mingled together, and they stayed so for the night, or for 20 nights, or 30, as some say. But even so, Cuchulainn destroyed 30 of Ailill's warriors with his slain. "Things are growing worse for you," Fergus said. "The men of Ulster will soon rise from their pangs, and then they'll grind you to grit and gravel. Besides, this is a bad place to fight." He set out then toward Cuil Alchair in the east. Cuchulainn slew 30 warriors at Athdurin, the ford of the Fist, and they couldn't reach Cuil Alchair until night came. Cuchulainn slew 30 more of them there before they pitched their tents. In the morning, Ailill's charioteer, Quilius, was washing the bands of his chariot wheels in the ford, and Cuchulainn struck him with a stone and killed him, from which comes the name Ath Quilni, the ford of Quilius. They pressed on then, reaching Drumfenne in Conaille for the night, and that is the second version of how they reached that place.